before this season, what was your thoughts going into the season with the Rodgers circus and everything else? What was your mindset prior to this season?
I mean, listen, prior to Rodgers, going to the season with Zach Wilson, it's bleak. Didn't like it, didn't love it. And then, the McAfee train started, right? You could start hearing the rumblings of, he wants to go somewhere else. He goes into hiding, goes into darkness, 90% retired. And I was like, okay, it's just the New York media hyping it up. And then it wasn't. And to hear that man say, I want to play for the New York Jets, it's like, bro, for 1 second, man, like my time stood still, and I was like, holy shit, bro, this is a top. You can make the argument for top five, top seven quarterback ever, top, he's top 10 legit, Hall of Famer that wants to come play for your team, not for the money, took a massive pay cut to come play with
Yeah.
us, and we were talking prior, like the hype behind the season. There's no team that's ever been this hyped up prior to a season. It's never, never in the history of anything. It seemed like, we had the McAfee show, we had Hard Knocks,
Mm-hmm.
we had everything. You got the NFL, the sound bites from the Giants game, telling them, you don't know who I am.
The
That was
cigarette handshake.
That was cool,
exactly,
yeah.
all of
The
it, all of
Hard
it.
Knocks. Real quick before you go
Yeah,
further, can you admit that was an Aaron Rodgers jerk off session? Hard Knocks?
100%, hundred
All
percent,
right, good. I could,
absolutely.
yo, I've watched the Hard Knocks and I get into it most teams, but yo, I could not make it after the second episode. I couldn't.
If you weren't a Jets fan, you weren't watching. And that's just what
Okay.
it was. Just because it really was, even our owner, like during the draft, was when he's getting on the phone, he's like, do you know who your quarterback is? Like, yes, bro. We know who it is. They know who it is. Let it go. Let the man play football. And of course, in classic New York Jets fashion, it all comes crashing down in 4 plays. And
Magic.
bro, sitting there all day getting ready for the game, Monday Night Football, September 11th, had the legacy
Mm.
uniforms on, to see this man run out with the American flag, it wasn't like it was a dream, dude. And for, the first play of our offense was a 26-yard rush from Brees
Mhm.
Hall. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is it. Like,
When's the parade?
I'm ready. I'm getting my tickets for the Super Bowl. I was looking at flights for Las Vegas. And then, the same thing that happened with Greenlaw, right? Achilles rupture. Just put
Damn.
it foot the wrong way, stuck on that turf, and that was
Mm.
it. And that was it. And you could see, you know, the man ruptured his Achilles, stood on it, put his hands on his hips, shook his head no, and sat down. And that was the most human I've seen Aaron Rodgers in his entire career.
Damn.
And it was, it still hurts talking about it, man. Because what could
Nah.
have been? I mean, even for Dolphins fans, you look at the AFC this year, it wasn't really, the Chargers got lost. The Ravens did what the Ravens do. The
Bengals
Bengals
lost.
were out of it. It's like that was our shot. But, it wasn't meant to be.
Man, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I love Rodgers, right? Dixon can do attest to this. I love Rodgers.
Facts.
But as soon as he said I'm going to New York, Rodgers retired for me.
I hear you.
I
I
could
feel it.
not. I was like, yo, because I'm a big Dolphins fan, so anything with the Dolphins, those are my guys. Rodgers, I fuck with Rodgers. Like I'll watch him, I'll root for him, but I didn't want to see him go down like that, for
Nah.
real.
I mean, if
Nah,
you're
that
a
was
football
heartbreaking.
fan, man, it was
The whole
Not
sports
like
world felt
that.
that.
In that moment, like not on 9/11, it was such the energy in that building where you could feel it through the TV. You really could. And that was like our second episode we ever did, Dixon. And I remember watching that, feeling that emotion through the TV. And then that first, like you said, the Brees Hall. Then they did that play action, and Bills were coming hot. Second play, they came even hotter. And then that third play, he scrambled, and I just couldn't believe it, bro. And I don't really feel bad for too many franchises that like really like shit the bed, and the Dolphins done it time after time. But right there, I was like, damn, Rodgers, that's no one wants to see this.
no, man. It was tough because, they even showed the play like after, and he had somebody in the flat wide open, and he just tried to extend it, And that's not really something that I see Rodgers do too much. Like he takes what you give him. And he's
Yeah.
going to cut you up, and he didn't take that play. And I think about it here, what if he just threw the ball? Where
Yeah.
would it be? Where would we be at? Would it be having this conversation about the Jets winning the Super Bowl, or do they miss the playoffs and it's even worse, just because they had a rough year? But you know
Now that
what?
I think about it, though, you guys had it bad all year because it
Yeah.
should have ended right there. Like heartbreak, it's over. You're looking forward next season. Then here we go again. All right, he's working with a special doctor. He's using fucking Middle Eastern traditions, medicine. He's on an accelerated, and then your hope starts building up again. And then you see the defense keeping you in the games. You see Zach Wilson with a great game here and there. Your hope starts building up again, and then for it to just again happen where it's like, oh man, we're not gonna make the playoffs. He was ready, but he couldn't come back. That was like, just
Bro, it was, you sit here every week and you hear these updates. He's a little bit closer. He's way
Yeah.
ahead of everybody. This is the first time it's ever happened. And you think about Cam Akers, who had the same injury and came back in 5 months. And I'm
Yeah.
sitting here, right? This is a running back that uses those tendons every play. And I'm like, shit, if he can come back in 5 months, this wasn't his plant leg. It wasn't like it was, and I'm like, maybe he can do it. And the report came out that he said if they were in contention for the playoffs and they beat a couple teams, he would have just said fuck it. Rodgers, he would have. He would have
Yeah.
just said fuck it. Let's see what we can do.
Took a perk and been straight.
Pop a perk and get his ass out there. Take some ayahuasca, get in the huddle, and lead these fuckers to a goddamn championship. But you know what? I think it's good for the team. And I always look at the bright side of things. Like this dude who's 41 years old just blew his fucking leg off and is working his ass off every single day, 8 hours a day to get back to the team. Just to, he was in the huddles, he's in the flights, he's on the sidelines, and I think that kind of rubbed a lot of guys the right way. Pause.
Yeah.
And just kind of, he got like that. He got I think he gets a bad rap, man. I think people think he's a
I do
selfish
too.
player and
I
he's
feel the
all
same
about
way.
himself. And I think that this year he showed that he really wasn't.
So you think even him not being on the field, everything that he did was still helpful to the team, like being supportive, being like you said, everything.
Absolutely.
I never looked at it like that.
Yeah, I mean that's as a Jets fan, you got to find the silver lining because there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad that goes on with this franchise and a lot of bad decisions and kind of you got to hold on to something. You got to hold on a little bit of hope and also him being the guy that says when he says something he's going to come back and do it. He's done it before.
Yeah.
He's that guy that will come out and light you up for 400 yards.
Nah, I still remember that one year when he said relax and then they fucking.
And what happened? Run the
that
tape,
was-
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
And
eight in
that
a
was
row or
it.
some shit. Yeah.
And his ass on some spiritual manifestation. If I say it and I believe it, then the time will come back to me. Like he's one of those dudes that believes it and like actually shows that it's real.
For sure, man. And there was a report after he was full on practicing the last like 2 weeks of the season, and he was running the scout team and absolutely cutting up our first team defense. Even like CJ Mosley, all pro linebacker, was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
Like there was even somebody said that Sauce had a hand on a ball and actually burned his glove. How hot that ball was coming out.
Jeez.
Rodgers got that fucking cannon.
That German medicine.
Exactly. He's on some shit. But all in all, it was a lost season, 4 plays in, but those guys.
So after Rodgers went down, post Rodgers, right?
Yeah.
What was your expectations and where did when the season moved along, where were you at? Like what were you thinking? Whoa, what was the season to you pretty much?
Yes, I mean that game kind of ended. It was the most roller coaster of emotions I've ever been a part of. You got the really high of Rodgers coming, the lowest low of him going out, and then we run back a kick in overtime. Rookie runs it back for the win. And it's like, okay, well, that was fucking nuts. And then I'm like, all right, I'm sitting down, driving home. I'm like, okay, we got to go get a quarterback. There's somebody out there. Your Brissett's. Listen, Dolphins fans,
Hey, don't even talk about
call me
Brissett,
up.
bro. I don't know why they keep throwing his name in there. I'll be honest.
I
with
mean,
you.
he's a good. He's not going to win you the Super Bowl,
He
but
might not win your game, bro.
Keep you afloat.
But
he is he better than Zach Wilson? Let's be honest now, because we all
I
can say
mean,
yes.
they're probably hovering around the same
Okay.
skill
But you
set.
could have you as a Dolphins, you guys know Tannehill. He was going to be available. Again, not going to
Hell
blow.
yeah.
He's not going to give you 15 wins,
Yeah.
but don't forget we had 7 wins this year. It's not like we
Yeah.
were, a 2-win team.
hmm
But, I think I look at it, that's where they kind of fucked up on, is they didn't have a real second option. They said, we want Zach to sit for the year, learn behind Rodgers, and just reset, which is a great plan. But, Tim Boyle, Trevor Simeon, like these guys are, can play at Sunrise Athletic Complex with us on Wednesdays and might not get picked. You know what I mean? Like they're that bad. And I mean, that's where we failed as an organization. And that's where you got to put it on your owner, your GM, be like, you thought that Zach Wilson was the guy.
Crazy.
We've seen
What
it.
happens with Zach moving forward? Do you think they get rid of him?
I think they got to trade him. I think it's
They
gone.
have to.
It's
Think
gone
so.
too far. It's gone way
Yeah.
too far with Zach, and
On both sides.
and it's funny there. Woody Johnson, our owner in the owners meetings, said we didn't have a backup quarterback last year, and to say that with Zach Wilson still on the team,
Yeah.
I mean, we're throwing that much shade on a guy that's still employed by you. You still got to pay him. Like you're trying to get something for him. So it's like, it really kind of shows where sometimes our organization gets made fun of is because of stupid shit like this. Like you can't say that and then still have the guy on the roster.
Yeah, they
So-
mismanaged his whole career,
Oh,
to be honest.
from play 1 to the last play of this year.